All this footage was taken within the first 1000 Ks. So this is a Transalp XL750. So now I wanted to get it serviced after the first weekend. So I picked it up Saturday. They couldn't service it Monday, so I dropped it back Tuesday morning. So I wound out some road Ks, relatively simple, and then some dirt. So I've ridden these tracks before on a 350 to a 300 2-stroke, 300 4-stroke, 450 4-stroke. So reasonably familiar with the tracks, and I wanted to see how the Transalp would go off-road. So now this bike needs to be able to do whatever I choose to do on it. So, and that probably won't be single track, but it could be, very rough fire roads in Australia, double track. It needs to be able to do anything that I choose to do it. A fair bit of my trips are really just lines on a map. So, you look at a map, you think, oh, okay, I can go here. You draw it on, save it as a GPX file or something like that, and then off you go. So potentially you can end up in places that aren't suited for the bike, or you've got to retrace because the road's closed or some other problem that you end up with in Australia. Now unfortunately today, when I was going to climb up this particular hill, my sleeve or my forearm turned the drone off back to just a single photo rather than a video file, so we missed some of that. I actually crashed the drone into a tree up here as well. Had an interesting day. The other drone footage I took was too high to be usable, so we missed out on that as well. Like I mentioned, I'd ridden some of these tracks before. Now I just got on the bike and rode it. I used the user setting, so I had the power on full power. I had the engine braking on 1. I had the traction control. I had it turned down as far as I could manage to turn it down without knowing all the settings, so that was on 1. And I had the rear brake, the ABS off. Here I was struggling to get up this hill at all. The traction control, or the torque control as Honda calls it, was interrupting the power on the bike. And yeah. Well, we're halfway up the hill, and hey. Brand new bike to it. Ooh. Now you're up against the rock and it's heavy and it's hot. Come on, come out. This one's going to make it walk sideways. Okay. There's some big rocks in there, so that's why I went under the tree. Now the bike, the rear brake's good, nice and strong. Overall I think the suspension valving is quite good. Now I've bottomed out the front forks quite harshly 4 times and bottom out the rear a couple of times. I might let you just listen to how it climbs up here. So overall the valving's quite good, I think. Now I'm 5'11", 75 kilos. Overall I think the setup of the bike is quite good position wise. Very comfortable standing. I am very comfortable standing. I will stand the whole time off-road. Even sometimes if on road I'll stand as well, especially if there's bumps. The Australian roads that I ride are quite rough as well, so for me the position's very good. The seat felt a little bit hard on the road sections. Be mindful that I was trying to wind out 1,000 k's over 2 days as well, so I was on the bike for quite some time. So the switch gear is quite good. It's quite easy to use. You can change modes when you're riding. Like I mentioned, so now what I do is I run full power, engine braking 1, traction control 0, and the ABS off. Even on the road I'd still run the ABS off. Like I mentioned, I spend a lot of time in the dirt, so quite handy with the rear brake, and I use the rear brake a lot on the road as well, so quite happy. If I need to lock it up I can. Maybe if it rains, it did rain a little bit on the road when I was riding, but maybe if it's really raining hard and I was concerned, I'd change to a rain mode or something like that, but I won't know that until we actually get there. Now, although this video is about its off-road ability, on the road was very good. The motor's incredible, and the motor actually makes off-road quite usable as well. The torque and the power takes quite a bit in the rev range to get it to start to really bark, so that actually helps off-road. It still has a lot of torque and a lot of power. You know, if you're third gear in this thing, you know, half, three-quarter throttle, you're actually moving quite fast. All this trail riding, or most of this trail riding, when we're moving with any sort of speed, is second and third in this sort of stuff. And if you hold the throttle open in second or third, then you're going quite fast. Certainly it would overpower the Tyres' ability at the moment. I have purchased off-road tyres, so we'll fit them and see how it goes. But at the moment I've been quite surprised with its ability. I didn't test ride this bike before I bought it. I just bought it sight unseen, and so far it's been able to do everything that I've expected it to be able to do. So now I've been trying to emulate our young Aussie mates, Hunter and Jet Lawrence, in riding style. So I do actually stand up 90% of the time, 98% of the time. The only time in general I will sit down off-road is if I don't get traction on a steep climb, or if I'm, you know, stuck between a couple of rocks or something like that, and I need to sort of bounce the bike through something. Trying to stay standing the whole time, so it allows better input into the bike. At this stage I have no armour on the bike at all. There's nothing available in Australia. As other people have noted, there's a cigarette packet size piece of the sump sticking straight down vertically that is very precarious. I was mindful that I didn't smash that off and leave me stranded, or throw the bike down on the dirt as well. That the bike's only a few hours old at this stage in this ride, so I'd like to try to keep it nice. Unfortunately, nearly all my vehicles have ended up landfill in the past, so unfortunately this one will probably end up the same. I have a little trouble with the climb up here. At this stage the traction control is still on. If you turn the key off on user mode, then the traction control or the torque control and the ABS will reset. Our nanny state wants to try to keep us safe. I don't like that, but anyway, we don't get to choose. So I actually stalled the bike here. I was in second gear, but I've just changed back down to first to try to get it to go. You can see that the bike's going to 16-20 k's an hour here or so the rear tyre is spinning up. That causes the torque control to stop. Yes. I have figured out the settings on the bike now, so I can turn them off. This is quite a nice flat fire trail, so I sort of amble along here at somewhere between 40 and 80 k's an hour. The bike handles quite good. The tyre is a 70/30 tyre, as I said. I've got some better tyres, so I'll fit them as needed. I'll run probably the Motoz Motoz Adventure. I think it's called the Desert HTX on the front, and the Adventure rear, 150 by 17, and it's the Q rated rear tyre for this one. very impressive. It's got very good road manners, more than enough power, overtaking the road, I think they will actually make best touring bikes around. You've got quite reasonable suspension, turning wheels in front, I think 190 good power, say above 90 horsepower, depends on which model you get, which country you get it in, sorry. 75 newton meters of torque approximately. Makes for a very good bike. You could ride it as spirited as you need to on the road. You can certainly cover ground off-road very easily. Certainly at my weight, I don't think the suspension is problematic for any off-road. I can still bottom out my 302-stroke, my 304-stroke, my 450 4-stroke, any bike. So that's going to happen. I think that you might have to take it, I wouldn't say easy, but it depends on how aggressive you want to get, to how it will react. So we've changed regions now. So this is the second weekend that I've owned the bike. We're coming up to 1,800 kilometres now. This is west of Sydney. This is near Lithgow, so northeast of Lithgow. So it goes by Nunes, Zigzag, Clarence, has quite a few names depending on exactly where you are. One of my favourite places. We're back to sandy track here. There's plenty of rocks in this track as well. Little step up a little bit later. The bike handled this stuff very easily. The sand is a little bit problematic with the tyre at the moment. The tyre wants to push straight. You'll see that in a little while. Plenty of big rocks there. I was mindful of the cigarette packet sticking down vertically from the bottom of the sump. There's no armour, as I've mentioned, at the moment in Australia. I've got some coming from Germany. I think unfortunately it's going to be a couple more weeks. So a little step here. If you keep your weight balanced on the pegs, the bike will have no problem going up any step up or any rock step that Yeah, I'm good. Fuck. Jesus, fuck. Philip, what are you doing? Did the same.
Did a rustle?
Yeah.
You meant to change your line and go that way, or?
I
Were you just trying to balance it and ran out of push?
don't think I can get this up.
What?
Maybe.
What's the plan?
Can
I pull on this side?
Yeah.
Here?
Yep.
You lift that?
Hang on.
This tire kept sliding as you were lifting before.
Hmm.
Click on it now.
Shit, Philip.
What did it land on?
Huh?
Lever on that side? Brake
No.
lever?
No.
Nice soft landing at least, Philip.
Yes.
Fucking deep sand.
I was worried.
Huh?
I was worried about the tree into the screen.
Oh.
Oh, Philip.
Must have been well over by then, or were you